G'day guys, Mac with the Outer Circle, and today, on this episode of Getting Started in the Horus Heresy, we're going to be looking at the White Scars. Now remember, in line with the other videos we've done, we're going to release 3 videos today, so stay tuned after this one for the Space Wolves, and after that for the Imperial Fists. So, as with the previous videos, we're also going to assume that the Horus Heresy Age of Darkness starter set is in your hands. It might not be, doesn't matter if it's not, because we have an alternate plan to cover that in the next episode on this Legion. So, you have this box, what is your next move? Well, the obvious next move is you need rules, and you need the Liber Astartes, the Loyalist Legiones Astartes army book. This will give you the rules for the White Scars Legion and the units you can pull upon or draw upon for it. Doesn't matter whether you are loyalist or you're actually playing them as traitors, this is still where those rules are located. It is steering you towards loyalists, but the traitor rules are in there. Also, I suggest the White Scars transfer sheet, especially because a lot of the White Scars symbols are intricate and require a fine touch if you want to hand paint them on. Let's maybe avoid that. It's a really nice transfer sheet, lots of symbols. Not my favourite transfer sheet in the world. Could probably use a few more of the large symbols, especially for vehicles. You're going to use probably a quarter of them just doing this one Spartan tank, but hey, is what it is. Now, upgrading the Legion. So as with previous episodes, we obviously have our 2 HQs, Tweedledee and Tweedledum. What do we do with them? Well, my suggestion is we're going to start with this Imperial Fists character here. So let's turn him into a White Scar. The easiest way to do so is the Corsair Khan from the Primaris Space Marines range. Now, the proportions between the two are not actually too dissimilar. Believe it or not, having held them in person, this guy fills a 40mm base up. He is big. He's actually about probably 105 to 110% of the rest of the box's scale. And it works okay because he's the Praetor, and he's being designed to stand out, so he's bigger than the other models in the box. Therefore, parts of Corsair Khan actually aren't oversized on him. So, what parts do we want to take from him? Well, what we'll do is we'll look at the sprue here. So, in the center of the sprue, part number 12, you'll see there is the backpack. We don't want the whole backpack, but we want the boss pole off the backpack, that nice post with the White Scars iconography on it, that little post. We can either use it on this guy to replace that very Templar symbol, or we can use it on this guy to replace the head rack. Either way, it's fine. Now, we're also going to change his arms completely. We're going to take both of these arms straight out of this box and put them onto, well, we want to put them onto this miniature, because, believe it or not, on the Corsair Khan model, as we scroll around it, you'll see his armor actually doesn't look like Primaris armor. One hand has got a leather glove over it, which hides any Primaris elements, and the other one has a sort of forearm vambrace, which extends out over the wrist. Because of that, if you put both the arms of this model and onto this guy, you can actually start to borrow, essentially, Corsair Khan's pose and import it onto a 30k miniature, without having to actually use a Primaris Space Marine. You could also use his stylized rock, which is actually a kind of a lodestone or a waystone with a pictogram of a horse sculpted into it. You could use that to replace the tactical rock that this guy comes with if you're that way inclined. Obviously, the head is a no-brainer, and of course you'll get the Cyberhawk with it. But an interesting little bit is the belt buckle. Now, the belt buckle is a lovely little White Scars detail here. And when we look on our transfer sheet once again, our sprue, you'll see that the buckle is part number 11, which is down the bottom right-hand side of the sprue. It's a separate component, and that makes it really easy to place over the top of the belt buckle supplied with this miniature, replacing that Imperial Aquila. So, by doing that, and of course using Corsair's head, you can turn this guy into a very, very White Scars miniature. Now, moving on from there, let's say you want to expand the force. You've got this nice little army, obviously, that comes in the main box set here, And first thing, of course, people are going to go, hey, let's go for bikes. Well, guess what? Episode 2, guys. To start with, we want to focus on what's in this box and supplement this box, not adding whole new units which go in a completely different direction to what's supplied. So with that in mind, the White Scars Legion Praetor in Cataphractii armor is an excellent choice, because it's Cataphractii, it's not going to be slowed down by, or have a worse armor save than, the Cataphractii squad supplied in the basic box, so it naturally fits in really well with them. Now, if you also want to accessorize, obviously the White Scars have excellent looking helmets. It's a nice little range of helmets you get here, and they don't need to be on every model. I think the helmets look very good on the characters, although I prefer to have my characters bare head with the old Fu Manchu mustache. These helmets are really good at picking out squad sergeants or accessorizing in the squads to make certain members stand out a little bit, rather than just having the same helmet pattern repeated over and over. Now, perhaps this model doesn't tickle your fancy and you don't want to put a character in with your Terminators. You could potentially take Chinzar instead, the Forge World special character, and use him as a Tartarus armored Praetor, and then combine that with some Ebon Keshig, which don't have to be run as Ebon Keshig. They could be run as a command squad or as regular Tartarus Terminators with, say, power axes or something. You could arm them with glaives, whatever is allowed by the game that you're playing at the time, because obviously Rights of War, special characters, different options will be available to you which allow you to change it up. So here's another option for you. If you don't think you're going to get some utility out of him, you can move away and get Chinzar. Now, of course, the Ebon Keshig, they are a fast attacking version of Terminators. So where the Cataphractii are slow, immovable, hitting with power fists and such, these guys are very quick using their White Scars glaives. So that could be something that interests people, as, again, like with the Palatine Blades of the Emperor's Children, a 1-2 punch. Lead the charge off with Ebon Keshig, follow it in with the Cataphractii, or force people to make the choice. So they kill the more ponderous but very durable Cataphractii, or focus on the faster moving Tartarus armored Ebon Keshig. Both are viable, and of course, like with other legions previously, these guys make an excellent basis for creating characters for the Legion, because essentially nothing marks them out as having to be Ebon Keshig. Some tiny little changes such as a bare head here or some additional iconography there, and you can turn these into some interesting characters. And I know from having painted a command squad of my own White Scars in white using these miniatures, they make an excellent basis or foundation for a command squad or different characters in the white armor scheme. So that's it, nice and simple one. I think White Scars are really going to benefit from the second episode, because we're going to go into bikes, jet bikes, vehicles, and modifying them up with some special bits off characters. But that's all. I'll see you on the next episode.